Hello. Hey, friends. If you're here watching this replay, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Svava Brooks, and I'm a trauma recovery coach. And I've written a couple of workbooks for survivors to support us on the healing journey. It's been and was quite a journey, and it really wasn't until I made the shift that healing was really, for me, a lifestyle change instead of, right, the struggle back and forth a lot until I started my daily commitment to what was good for me, for my mind, my body, and spirit is really when the things started to fall into place. So I'm happy to pass along some of the things that I learned along the way with my fellow survivor thrivers here on YouTube. So if you're here with me live, please say hello. Please let me know that you're here. And if you're interested in learning more about my coaching, I'll have a link to my website below this video. But today I have not really any big topic other than to be here and see if you have any questions about your healing journey. Of course, I can throw some questions out there to spark the conversation, but I'm here to serve. How are you doing? That's always where we start each of our coming together. Whoa, my whole table just shook. That was Penny, my cat assistant, walking away. He likes to hover here on the corner of my laptop. But I am here, willing, able, ready, wanting to support you guys in any way that you need today. Where are you at? Hey, Rob. Thank you. Feel my spirit. I was actually laughing as I sat down because I was just doing some dancing. I put on my dance playlist and I've been sitting quite a bit today. So I put on my dance music and I was dancing to get my energy up a little bit before I come here to be with you guys. So how are you doing, Sue? Love those flowers. Thank you. And Claudia is here. How are you, friend? Switzerland in the house, UK in the house. Okay, the internet. Actually, I've had a few glitches with the internet today as well. So fingers crossed, if I freeze, then we navigate, right? We make it work. That's okay, Sue. So how are you guys? I see that Sue been going on a lot of walks. I've been keeping an eye on the weather today and on the phone. Like, okay, when is a good time to go out in between the downpour? A few times here today, as I was talking to some of my clients, literally it was like someone turned the faucet on. So it was pouring. But I haven't given up hope. There you go. Okay. All right. It says raining, stopping in 20 minutes and starting again 32 minutes later. I may not make it. We'll see. But I have rain gear. I put on rain pants earlier this week to go out for a walk. It was raining so hard. I'm like, no excuse. Just putting on the gear, getting my butt out there. So, hey, EJ, good to see you. 9 miles. Oh, my goodness. I hope you're doing okay. That's a lot of miles. Hey, Sharon. Hey, friend. Hey, Lady Leo. How are you guys? That's right. Sue planted some spring flowers. The weather is finally better. Beautiful. Yeah, I was thinking I haven't even been Snapchatting any of my walks lately because it's been so much rain that I really haven't wanted to pull out my phone in all that rain. So EJ split between 3 walks. Awesome. So is that 9 miles then for the remainder of the week? You getting all the walks in one? I'm so glad that you're here, Sharon. I'm so sorry you're struggling, my friend. So sorry to hear. All right. Rob has been to the Swiss Alps. I don't know exactly where Claudia is in Switzerland, but maybe she can tell us where she is. I wish, says EJ. Split between 3 walks. I get it. I get it. I get it. So, my friends, today the topic was basically, what questions do you guys have about healing? What's brewing inside of you? What's going on? Anything that I can help shed some light on? And I am here to serve. Wanted to pop in and say hi, going live in a support group to discuss the effects of physical disciplining in the African American community. Wow. Excellent, Lady Leo. Excellent. Well, thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. You're doing great. I'm seeing all these interviews that you're doing lately. We are so proud of you, Lady Leo. You're making us proud. Thank you so much for all that you're doing. That's an important conversation to have, right? That is quite the topic. That is quite the topic. Yes, I hear you. Well, we're here, Lady Leo. But thanks for letting us know, and we're supporting you. We're right behind you, sending you our love, support, and energy. You'll rock it. And thank you for bringing up that topic. That's a tough one, right? These parenting paradigms that have been passed down for generations, and that we are learning some things doesn't really work. Doesn't really work. We need to rethink this. So thank you for doing that, Lady Leo. So Claudia says, Switzerland photography. Check my pictures on Facebook. I've seen some of your pictures, I'm sure. Now you got me curious. I'm going to have to go back and take a look. I'm going to have to go take a look. So my friends, while you guys think of some questions, I was pulling up some older presentations that I've done over the years. And what I was going to touch upon is the healing journey, like the different steps on the healing journey, and kind of the pros and the cons, or what's the positive of this particular step of the healing journey, and what can be seen maybe as the negative, or what's hard about that particular step on the healing journey. So I thought maybe that would spark some of our conversation and dialogue. Rob says older generations in UK have that I got hit and I'm okay conditioning. Yep. I hear you, Rob. Exactly. Right? A lot of people of how I was parented. I'm fine. The truth is, we're not fine. I'm not fine, right? Yeah, Sue. Sue has heard that too. Earthquake, yes, Rob, I heard that too. There was lots of earthquakes going through Iceland yesterday and the day before. Um, basically along that natural fault line, they're pretty common. And this was, I heard some big ones and a lot of little ones. So, of course, that will shake our nervous system no matter where we are. But yes, I didn't hear about any property damage or people being injured, but I did see some pictures where there was some slides, rocks and things like that rolling down hills. So yeah, so again, love to hear from you guys. Any thoughts or questions about the healing journey? But this comes from the Courage to Heal, right? The first step on the healing journey is the decision to heal, right? Can you guys remember that step? To decide. I can still remember, and actually, because some of these bullets come from the Courage to Heal book, I bought that book for someone else before I read it for myself, of course, right? We can see how other people need it before we do. And definitely struggled with, like, do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? Am I ready to heal? Am I not ready? Because, right, the positive is the decision to heal. I'm setting the intention. I'm going to do this. I'm going to be courageous, right? We don't always call it courage in the beginning, but maybe we start with willingness, as we talk about here. But intention is powerful. And when we decide, okay, all right, I think it's time. And I don't know about you, but for me, it was like, I almost felt like I didn't have a choice anymore. I had used so many coping strategies, all the energy to avoid, repress, struggled, and could just feel the mounting pressure from the inside. I'm like, okay, all right, I gotta do this. And had shared a little bit of my story with some people, some friends, because I was having some challenges and I didn't really understand why. But when I shared my challenges with my friends, and then maybe this is the reason why I'm struggling, seeing the reaction on their faces or seeing how they responded to what I was saying, it's like, well, do you think maybe I need to talk to someone? That was kind of like, oh, wow, they actually think this is a lot. Like, this is serious. Because I had told myself, I'm fine. It's in the past. Don't need to deal with it. Don't need to go there. So that decision, right, had to be, okay, I'm willing, not exactly sure where this is going to take me, but yes. And it felt very, very risky for sure in the beginning. Rob here, forgetting how bad it felt to get smacked or that summers weren't always sunny. I'm so sorry, Rob. I'm so sorry, Rob. Yep. I hear you, my friend. I hear you. Sue, thank you. Seems a long time ago, but yes, I can remember when I decided, because I realized healing was actually possible. Yeah, right? Because for a long time, this for the same reason, right? I didn't know that I could speak up about what happened to me. I didn't even know, yeah, that healing was possible. What words to use, what that would look like, where do I go, who do I talk to? Had no idea. Had no idea. Thank goodness things have changed a bit, right? We are seeing a lot more information out there about healing and trauma, and yes, all the aspects of that we can. Absolutely. We can, yes. And then the second step. So Sue here, I agree fairly quickly. There was no choice but to go forward, even though I didn't know how. Yep, I hear you. Yeah. And that's, like maybe good or bad. It's like once you open up to that awareness, like, oh, okay, then it's like you can't close the door again. You can't pretend that you don't know once you've opened that up. But I also think from in my experience and from a more hopeful place too, is that it was very interesting that it felt like the things that I needed like showed up. And like they say, right, when the student is ready, the teacher, the book, what have you, will show up. And that certainly has been my experience. And I have to tell you, and some of you may recognize this, that often people find their way or book a session with me or set up a call to get to know what it is that I offer because they're ready. And they often say, yeah, I've tried everything. So hold on, guys, I just realized my phone is still on. So Rob says, can you share your understanding of nurturing and nourishing in a parent dynamic? I saw nurture as openness to listen and support, and nourish is to help actualize the choices that kids make. To me, I kind of see them as, I think it's just a matter of what those words mean to people. I see those both things being the same thing. I think nurture and nourish is about listen, right? To be open to listen to our kids, talk to our kids. And as parents, right, a lot of, me included, parenting paradigm, I did a lot more of the talking. And especially when my girls were younger, I was the one being bossy, telling them what to do or how to do it and why. There wasn't a whole lot coming this way, right? It was very one way. But then I learned along the way, wait a minute, I need to listen. It felt good to be heard. One of the things that I do think, on the healing journey, I found how important it was to be heard. And so listen and support. Yes. I'm going through something like that right now with my 17-year-old who, he's actually turning 18 next month, right? It's like, oh my gosh, now all my babies are adults. And he, especially right now with COVID, is going through, it's like, well, who am I? What do I want to do? What am I going to do after high school? He's been kind of exploring, do I want to go to community college? Do I even want to go to college? Am I an artist? He is like he's been diving deep into meditation actually. And is exploring that. It's like, well, maybe I can go and learn more and deeper about meditation. And so, and I'm doing a lot of sitting with him when he comes and wants to talk about it and process. And I'm just like, yeah, I hear you. Those are great ideas. And so giving him that feedback and be like a sounding board for all those suggestions, and I'm not telling him what to do, right? But more encourage. That sounds like a great idea, because I trust that, right, we will explore a choice until we hit a wall, or we decide, no, that isn't what I want to do, or that isn't what I, thought it was going to be. And, even reflecting on my daughters, Elisa was very clear. She wanted to go to college, she did that. And then Sabrina, she is also a creative, not doing college. She explored, nutrition. She did some art. She started, did a YouTube channel for a while. She got into marketing, got a really good job in marketing. So letting them explore. So, because I didn't want to make cookie cutter kids, right? I'm not just making them model off of me, but it's like, what do you want? And encouraging them to evaluate some of the experiences, right? The values and the things that I've instilled in them. At some point, they get to choose. What do they want to keep, and what are they going to choose to shift out for that is more authentic to who they are and their lifestyle? So I just used to react to feelings and the overactive fear response that not getting nurtured left me believing was actually how everyone lived. Yes. 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 I hear you, Rob. I hear you, my friend. And I mean, that is, part of, for so many of us, and we talk about that here, right? I thought that who I was, right, my personality traits and who I'd grown up to be was, who I was. This is Svava. But as I started my healing journey, I recognized that so many of my traits and identities, if you will, were built around coping. Were built around staying safe. Were directly related to behaviors because of the fear and the tension and the stress in my body. So, and right, so we think this is just how it is, and maybe this is what we see in our family dynamics growing up, right? And so as we heal, this is again, while a lot of us, it supports us to reparent ourselves, right? Is to recognize, and definitely can bring up some feelings, right? I felt kind of embarrassed, maybe a little bit ashamed that here I am, a grown-up, and there's some things that I struggle with. But looking back, it made sense that I was, a little stunted, because like you said, I hadn't been nurtured or encouraged or supported in exploring, developing these stages of my development. So it made sense that I was stuck there, but I was able to help myself heal and process and master that stage in a way by attending to my inner child, or my inner teenager, or my inner young adult self. So, and a lot of that was me forgiving myself or accepting myself for all the struggles. We realized that what we grew up with was not normal. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So absolutely. But then also as we heal, right? Now, when you look out, we can see that a lot of people in our world, right? They aren't bad or broken people. They're just traumatized. right? There's a lot of trauma out there, a lot of people struggling, right? Don't communicate very well, don't ask for what they need, don't set boundaries because we didn't have any healthy role models. So, yeah, and it gets messy when, our inner child comes out and is interacting with the adult world. So any decisions, good or bad, made by nurtured kids are their choices, but the act of nurturing parents can stack the scales toward responsible and resilience to make good and survive bad choices. Yes. Yes. I'm rereading that, making sure I catch all what you're saying here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, life is hard, right? We all make mistakes. And, how I see it is that I actually wanted my kids to make some of those mistakes when they were younger rather than when they were older. So I didn't try to protect them from natural consequence of their, behavior or them not doing, taking responsibility for their schoolwork or chores or right. So definitely was very controlling when they were younger, but then it made sense. I wanted them to not be afraid of me, but I wanted them to experience the natural hurt or the natural upset or the natural consequence of their actions. And again, I wouldn't shame or, make them feel bad for making a mistake or for not doing something. But it's like, well, then, this is how we learn about the power of the choices that we have, that we can make different choices, that our choices have impact, and in a way, I think that's where we also learn about the power we have, right? So, and I also think for as a parent, this is just my personal take on it. I learned pretty soon that the more I pushed or demanded, chances was I was going to get a lot of pushback. But the less attachment that I was to what was going on, you know, and that's exactly what happened, is that they would actually then recognize that they wanted to make a decision for themselves. It wasn't for me or about me. And that's kind of how I've supported my kids through most of their school. It's like their good grades weren't for me, it was for them, right? It's like, if you don't care about your grades, right? If you want help with something that you're struggling with, I'll help you, but I can't force you to decide that, how you want to do in school. That's on you. So, and that paid off, at least for my kids. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, friend. Welcome. So thanks for that, Rob. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. So if we move on, right, we start with the decision to heal. Then the next phase of healing is remembering and feeling the feelings, right? The positive there. We get in touch with our feelings. We learn to express our feelings. So much of our hurt comes from holding on to the feelings, right? And of course, the downside to choosing to face what happened and feel the feels, so to speak, it can feel overwhelming, and especially if we don't have support. So Rob says here, when I realized I had a choice to act and not react, then I noticed that my childhood made me a robot. Society is full of people just surviving, reacting to impulse. Yes, exactly, Rob. And right here's where empathy and compassion for people that are out there surviving is that, I mean, that was me, right? I was a robot. I was on autopilot. I didn't know that I had a choice. I didn't know how to stop it because it was conditioning from childhood, right? I was so afraid and overwhelmed by all of it that just by doing the best I can to repress it all and disconnect, my nervous system, my biology literally was just running the show, right? I didn't have a choice. So, and that's what we see out there, right? They are reacting to an impulse and they don't understand where the impulse comes from. And they don't see that they have a choice, right? What drives the impulse is, right, some thinking or feelings. And, right, a lot of the information is going up to the mind from the body, right? 80% is this way. And when the body is sending a message, something's wrong, right? There's tension, there's fear in here. And then the mind, the meaning making machine, is sorting it out. And without any other information, we think this is where it's coming from. We don't even realize it's coming from the inside. And so once we can pause, okay, it isn't from there. This isn't happening right now. And then start to notice how we're feeling in our bodies. And then recognize the thoughts that are fed the cycle. So, and again, this is hard to do without support, very hard. So the next step here, right, is believing it happened. Believing it happened. Yeah, for me, definitely, I always remembered. I know a lot of people have had a lot of clients where, right, some people don't remember. They just block it out completely. But it was like I was living like a parallel life from this is all the stuff that happened. It was always here, but I had to work really hard at keeping it out. And so validating my truth, speaking up, telling my story. And the downside, of course, is, and this doesn't help, that so many of us never get validation from the people that hurt us, or nor were there many witnesses to the hurt. So we doubt ourselves. There's a lot of, right, guilt and doubt. So Sue says, I didn't realize I was allowed to have feelings. Taking time to feel and recognize and name the feelings. Yes. Oh, yes. Exactly, Sue. Right? And when you think about it, having feelings, feeling things is inherently what being a human is all about. Right? But if we just see robots, right? If, like what Rob said, if we just see robots, we don't see anyone authentically expressing their feelings, nor are we supported to express what we're feeling growing up and having someone validate that. So it's hard. And then, of course, we doubt what we feel, right? Is this the truth? Is this now? Is this the past? Sort it all out. Yes, Sue, I was either okay or upset, and upset was bad. Yeah, exactly. We're not allowed to upset anyone, right? Because if we were upset, we made other people uncomfortable. So people's like, can you just be happy, right? Sure, I'll be happy. So Rob says, until recently, the mind was trusted as a flawless program, not a delicate balance, prone to untrue output dependent on its past input or chemical imbalances. Yep. Yep. Exactly. And the truth is, it's like they work together, of course. It's like we are one, but there is exchange happening here, right? But we've been, right, just thinking that the mind was the most important piece of what it is to be human. Nope. I did not believe you do. Okay. I think you're responding to Elizabeth. Elizabeth, you're working hard. You're tired. Yes, we need to find that balance, right, my friends? So important. So important. So let's see. Breaking the silence is then the next step, right? Breaking the silence. Powerful healing force. And this is again where peer groups are helpful, right? Because when we finally speak the truth, it frees something up in us, but it can also bring up shame, right? We worry how people are going to respond to us telling our story. And yep, people have, used to shame me, but not anymore. Not my shame. Not my shame, not my secret. It was not my fault. So it is more people are uncomfortable with it, not my problem. Of course, I'm mindful and gentle when I'm sharing my story, knowing how many survivors there are out there, meaning that I have learned my lesson in a way that, try to be very gentle when I share my story, and I share it in the context of what is being talked about. I think I've shared with you guys that was kind of a learning on its own when I realized kind of the process and the evolution of our need to tell our stories, which it's an important one to speak the truth and almost hear ourselves say the things that maybe we've been holding in secrets for a long time. And then that's kind of takes us to the next step, right? Understanding it was not your fault. Not your fault. I don't know about you, that was probably the worst, one of the worst negative thoughts and beliefs that I had about myself as a little girl, is that I thought it was my fault. I thought I was bad. So when we speak the truth, tell our story, and understand through processing and hearing from other people, no, it wasn't your fault, right? Yes, it can be hard when we don't get, validation maybe from the person that hurt us, but we can, and I know most of us, if not all of us, have heard from other survivors where it's like, yep, I know it's not my fault. No, the person hurt me, never admitted their fault, right? But what we do know about the healing journey, we can still heal without that. Yes, it's hard, but knowing we're not alone and there are so many of us in that boat, right? We do the work of letting go of the blame, because with that blame, right, it's like the self-harm. It's like I had picked up where the people hurting me had left off because I was so brutal with how I treated myself. Exactly, Sue. I know in my head it wasn't my fault, but yes, exactly. It's that subconscious, deep, our beliefs about there must have been something wrong with me or this wouldn't have happened. And that just kind of seeps in deep into the bone, so to speak. So calm down when you're excited, cheer up when you're sad, and can't you just behave? Yes, Rob, right? Yep. I hear you, my friend. And Elizabeth says, I don't understand people who ask you about your life to immediately shame you for not achieving enough or whatever. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Can't win. It's like, being human is right. Well, I mean, marketing, this is what we live in. We're constantly being sold and marketed heavily that we aren't doing enough or in any way perfect enough. So we buy or try to change or shift, and right, it's exhausting. Feel like I'm still discovering my story in a way. Yeah, I hear you, Sue. I hear you. I hear you, my friend. I get it. I get it. Rob says, can't you be more like your sibling? Ugh, that's the worst. That's the worst. Well, and here's the thing. Yeah, some people, maybe grew up with hearing it. And then there is also, right, siblings that, grow up with seeing how, different siblings are being treated. So they maybe learn that, okay, unless I'm like that one, I'm not good enough. And they try to be like the oldest or the one that is approved of to fit in, trying to be something they're not. And it makes them miserable. So doing our best to, and I can still remember, Sabrina struggled, with a big sister that took up a lot of oxygen, big energy, that she tried to follow in her sister's footsteps. And I kept telling her, it's like, Sabrina, you don't have to do what Elise is doing. It's like, what do you want to do? What makes you happy? So, but still, it's interesting. We've talked about that. She still had that message inside that she felt like she had to be and do like Elisa. So, but she's got over that. So, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Let's see. The next one here is connecting with your inner child. Learn to have compassion for yourself, right? That's also where we learn to hold safe space for a lot of the hurt that we didn't get to express, where we can model for our inner child what it is like to be loved, held, valued, appreciated, right? Someone actually interested in me, someone actually, making me a priority, someone actually checking in on me, right? And for so many of us that had no idea what being loved and being cared for looked like or felt like, that it was really through the inner child work where, working with my inner child, where I slowly, and I had to work hard to earn her trust because she didn't trust adults. And I wasn't very consistent in the beginning, in the first, probably a couple of years when I first heard about inner child work. I'm like, that's weird. I'm not doing that. That's weird. That's uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable just to see it and hear people talk about it. And to me, that's usually kind of the flag. Well, there's probably something in here for me. But then slowly, once I learned and started to have that dialogue and that connection with my inner child, yeah. And that also then helped to, right? As I was learning to express my feelings, learn how to safely express them, and also help to sort out the uncertainty around feelings. So being uncertain about my feelings helped to separate, what was coming from her and what was coming from me. So let's see here. And then we have disclosure to others, right? Slowly, as we work through some of these layers, we start to tell other people about what happened to us. And again, that helps us to let go of shame, helps us to let go of shame that wasn't ours. And then the downside, right? The taboo, sometimes it makes other people uncomfortable, right? I actually just this week was talking to someone who was telling me, she's like, yeah, lately I like clear the room. I start talking because she also works in child sexual abuse prevention and has her own story. And she's like, yeah, I'm kind of struggling with like telling people and my work and stuff, because usually when I start talking, that the room empties. People are very uncomfortable. So it made me laugh because I can relate. But this is where we not need to find each other, find our people, where it's like, yeah, I know, yes, we need to talk about it, but yeah, it does make people feel uncomfortable, and I can have compassion for that. So, and then the last step, right? We find some resolution, right? We go back to, in their words, living life fully. And the downside, can be that it feels like this healing thing is taking way too long. It's taking way too long. So, and of course, what we know about healing after trauma, complex trauma, when we didn't get our needs met as children, we didn't have a solid foundation to build on, then yes, this is going to take longer. This is going to take longer for sure. But each layer that you work through, absolutely worth it. And you can also take a break, right? It's like, yeah, I've been on this healing thing for a while, but I'm just going to take a break from it for now and do something different. I can remember when I had David, my son, who is, yes, going to be 18 next month, 18 years ago. I decided to take, it took about 2 years, just a break from healing, because I'd been knee deep in it. And we moved to the East Coast. Dave was born, and then I was ready to get back to it. So let's see here. Sue saying, we do have to choose our audience. Yes, yes, yes. Yep. So that was it for today here, my friends, right? I was looking through here, some quotes that I had. And the healing journey starts with, we empower ourselves. We learn to love ourselves. From that, we learn to trust ourselves. Then we learn to express ourselves. Then we learn to bless ourselves and forgive ourselves. From that, we start to value ourselves and accept ourselves. And then in the end, be yourself. So that sums up the healing journey. I appreciate you guys being here and commenting, offering up your thoughts and suggestions today. If you found this conversation supporting you, thanks for the thumbs up here on YouTube. And of course, I pulled a card for us today. One day, she woke up and decided to be healthy. Right? And decided to be healthy, you get to decide. You get to decide what that is. Like moving on. That's you, Elizabeth. Yep. There's so much to work on when it comes to deciding to be healthy. Our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, energy, right? So many aspects of what we can work on to be decided to be healthy. All right, sweet friends, thank you so much for being here as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing your journey, your appreciation, encouragement, validation to each other means a lot, my friends. Your voice matters, your story matters, right? We touched upon that, how important it is that we find our voice and tell our stories. Good to see you all. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I'm hoping for some sunshine. It's been a bit gloomy here this week. And I look forward to seeing you guys here next week, same time, same space, same place. Take good care, sweet friends. Take good care. Bye for now. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, sweet friends. Bye-bye.